Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series, broadcasting to you all from a very sunny UK for a change. How nice is that? Lots of positive comments coming in, guys, regarding the previous cast. Thank you very much for those. Always nice to hear stuff like that, though I must stress the thanks for most of these casts really does have to go out to the players who play these games. Let's face it, without them, it would just be me talking to myself, and nobody wants to watch that. But you guys keep on playing those games, sending them in to me. I'll keep watching them, casting them, sending them back. You guys will watch them, and hopefully the cycle of FAF pleasure will continue in perpetuity. And speaking with perpetuity, iStreamer has been in touch, letting me know that the FAF tech wizards, or tech gods, whatever you want to classify them as, have nearly finished all of their work on the latest patch. It would sound a lot more professional if I had the patch number to hand. Alas, he did tell me, but it escapes me for the moment. Essentially, that's all done now, but they do need beta testers, guys. So if you're planning to have a game of FAF, why not simply launch it in the beta test version instead of just the FAF mod? I think it's actually located directly beneath the FAF mod, if memory serves. Certainly that would help out the community massively. If you spot any problems, fill out those bug reports, etc., and so forth, so at least we can have the client looking as slick as possible by the time it reaches release. Anyway, on to today's game. We've got a pro-level ladder match on the cards. Very exciting stuff, and that's going to take place on Loki. I'm ready, you guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. So, Loki, we know what we're dealing with on this one. Let's take a look at our players. Down here at the bottom left in the blue corner, it's none other than my good friend ZLO, going back to his ever so customary Cybrin, opening first land. I'm going to give him a moment to see if he's going to give us any other clues where he's going after that. No, he's not. Just going to keep us hanging on there. We'll come back to him in just a second, see what his second and third options are. And his opponent up here at the top right in the red corner, it's none other than JaggedAppliance, who's also going Cybrin. So it's a Cybrin mirror matchup, which of course means as soon as this is over, I shall be bathing my eyeballs in bleach. But back to the game, because that's what's important. JaggedAppliance, we can see, is going to go second air, I believe that is. Yep, second air and then third land. So we've got at least some readout on him. Is ZLO still being cryptic? Yes, he is. Very unhelpful, ZLO. But I'll take this opportunity to say, guys, probably my newer subscribers and the newer additions to FAF still asking me that age-old question, how they can submit replays to me, guys. Well, essentially, I've been asked this question a lot in the past, and I got thoroughly bored of answering it. So what I did is I wrote a full instruction list of how, set of instructions of how to get a replay to me, and you can find that in the description below all of my videos. You just have to press the little button there on YouTube to expand the text, and you'll see at the bottom of that little section a whole spiel about how to get me replays. I do like aggressive games. I love comm drops. I love unusual strategies. Typically, I do prefer my games to go over 15-20 minutes, but if it's exceptional or unusual, there are always exceptions. If you like that, if it's exceptional, there are exceptions. That's good stuff, Carl. Nice work. Well, I was up late last night. It happens. Anyway, the first few offensive units now on the field. An awful lot of molds coming out from JaggedAppliance, and an early-ish T1 bomber as well. So JaggedAppliance looking like he wants to get a lot of intel on the ground. We do have one ground offensive unit steaming over to the western edges of the map now. Coming out, that's a Mantis, and one engineer that is on reclaim duty. You can see the rocks there for a moment. Thought he was just confused. But we do have scout planes out for both players now as well. And ZLO's actually gone double air 2 and 3. So slightly different opening build order from ZLO as to his opponent. Building mostly interceptors out of that first air factory, so looking depressingly defensive, ZLO, on this one so far. First blood, though, out to JaggedAppliance. Picks off that engineer in the western approach. Interceptor immediately dispatched to take care of that bomber. Another one joins in the fray, and they'll manage to pick that off before any more NGs succumb to it. Interceptors coming across the map now from JaggedAppliance as well. But it's 2v3 in the skies above ZLO's base, so That's going to go better for him than it will for Jagged. ZLO manages to pick off those two without losing any. Scout plane still buzzing around over there. If we have a look at what these two players can see. So both players got a decent read on each other's bases, a decent early scout. Early units coming in from Jagged, getting picked off there by a couple of defending Mantis. What's important is the engineer's still alive, so he can go about his business. Still 2 mechs is there to pick up, and of course the obligatory land factory consistent with the meta. Jagged yet to set that down in his queue. I'm sure he will before too long. But look out, super early T2 air tech from ZLO, who's already working on a T2 transport, I believe, and upgrading his commander. So there's some shenanigans afoot. That is incredibly early. Just 19 mass or 21 mass per tick there for Appliance, 29 for ZLO. That was in fact a bogus figure there. It looks like it's actually 1529 with Reclaim coming in. But this should be very interesting indeed. This is very early to be getting an upgrade on his comm. It's going to be T2 or gun. Probably T2, I would imagine. Mantis coming in the east, meanwhile, to deal with ZLO's little expansion there. Engineer bites the dust. 3 mexes won't be far behind it, I don't think. On mole out for ZLO, trying to get a little bit of intel of what's going on that side. Man, you really are blind on a map like Loki. There's so many different areas you have to concern yourself with. And the early game, you just don't have the intel. Always scares the hell out of me in the little 1v1 games, not having any idea of where things are. But you see the amount of mass that ZLO has stockpiled. Scout planes sent overhead to make sure he's got a clear run through with this drop. He's laden the transport with his commander and is inbound over the township in the middle. Interceptors running screen for him. Going to go straight after Jagged Appliances landed inties that are slightly to the north. And it looks like that Dragonfly is going to make it into the base without any real difficulties. Does have an intie latch onto it at the last moment, but ZLO gets safely onto the ground. And would you look at this preparation, a little bit of scouting work there from Appliance. Knew something like this was on the cards, and ZLO quickly throws down one of his own PDs, but there are several auto guns under construction, and ZLO just going around capping them as they complete. Another one about to complete up here. Another quick capture perhaps. Yes, indeedy. And suddenly ZLO in a pretty good place. 10,300 hit points remain off his 13.5k. What's going on elsewhere? Well, you can see everything stops elsewhere pretty much on the field when something like this is going on. ZLO really wants to take care of that T2 mechs, which is feeding these 3 factories. It's down to just 600 hit points. But you can't blame him for prioritizing the offensive units and the defensive structures. And he's got 2 of the T1 PDs, 3 in fact, under his control now. And things looking very sketchy indeed in the main base now for Appliance. Amazingly, that Dragonfly is still alive, although it's taken a battering. Just under 600 hit points remain. You wouldn't want to get your comm on board that in an emergency. Not a lot of leeway to play with at all. Meanwhile, we've got a gunship, T2 gunship out, Renegade for ZLO, which is harassing his old position there, which was taken over just a few moments ago. Remember, we're only 8 3/4 minutes into this game. Incredibly early pressure here from ZLO, who's doing great work, and this really doesn't look good for Appliance. Having said that, the focus on this early push takes its toll when it comes to eco. Would you look at that? 17 generated mass per tick there for ZLO as opposed to 43 from Jagged, who's got significantly more presence and map control about the place. Mantis pushing in towards the main base. No Sky Slammers, though, in around here, so it's going to be tough to fend off any more gunships, and there are more on the way. A couple already parked in the base, but back to Jagged Appliance's base to see how ZLO's conquest is going. Down goes the Dragonfly, and in fact gets hit by a Medusa shell in mid-air, which is the killing blow. So no quick evac out for ZLO if it all goes pear-shaped. Probably wants to get another Dragonfly on standby. You always want to have an escape plan in case things don't go the way you want them to. I cannot believe it, that T2 Mex is still online. 418 hit points remain. Jagged Appliance getting the gun upgrade on his commander, the speed and range, rate of fire and range, and that's proceeding nice and quickly. Eco not taking too much of a battering with the destruction of his base, although he's going to be running into power trouble pretty soon. Net power jumping between 100, minus 100 and 0 right now. And still a good 50% to do on his ACU. ZLO with a factory online now in Jagged Appliance's old base, and in fact only one mass extractor remains, and then can no longer be classified as Appliance's base anymore. Cerberus turret being thrown down there for ZLO. Still under some T1 bomber harassment from the air. And a factory out to the west of that position, just spitting out Medusas bit by bit, and this is what I'm talking about. Lots of renegades online. That's a lot of air-to-ground firepower for 11 minutes. Could do some damage with those. Is he going to bring them in towards his ACU? Perhaps, although recognizing the danger, we've got quite a lot of banger production going on from Jagged Appliance, who has finished his speed and range gun upgrade and is now working on stealth. So could be difficult to handle, as ZLO doesn't have an awful lot around his commander right now, but working on the Mantis sitting outside his base. Renegades take those to task nice and easily. Needs to be slightly careful. Huge quantity of Sky Slammers just turned up to the east. Obviously not anywhere near as effective as the banger, but still could cause you a few problems if you run into them. We're up to T2 ground now for Jagged Appliance, who's chosen that little factory in the center of the plateau there for his HQ. And with stealth done and gun upgrade done, Jagged Appliance now going on the counter-offensive. ZLO hasn't got a lot online in this new position. We've only got one Cerberus turret in play. He's got nothing else. The factory that he either captured or built for himself has been destroyed, and he finds himself completely isolated, and I'm not seeing any other Dragonflies on the field. He's still completely concerned with crippling Jagged Appliance about the map. Renegades out, going after various mass extractors. We've got Corsairs doing bombing runs about the place, but none of it can possibly help ZLO's ACU out here because of the amount of bangers on the field. Jagged Appliance now steaming towards ZLO in this all-or-nothing play. If this doesn't work, I think it's fair to say he's on to a loser here. Renegades not breaking through in the bottom right-hand corner base. Interceptors and tracers getting the job done there. Does ZLO have access to overcharge? Yes, he does. So he can take care of that Wagner without any major difficulty. But Jagged Appliance will surprise him with the ACU and that personal stealth. ZLO already down into the yellow, 12,000 hit points and falling very rapidly indeed. He's got that Cerberus turret, but of course with pretty woeful damage output on those compared to other races. That Wagner still alive, probably wants to overcharge that ASAP. Has he got anything coming in at all? Even any air-to-ground support needs to be sending in some renegades or something to help with this fight, because he's completely isolated. He's got no means of escape, no transports on standby, and I think he's completely underestimated the danger here, or overestimated how much time he has. Down into the red, 2,500 hit points. I can't believe what I'm seeing. JaggedAppliance going to walk away with this one inside 15 minutes after looking like it was all over. And I think that might just be the shortest replay we've had on Guilecast yet. That's insane. Slow saying, oh my god. He can't believe it. The renegades turn up, but too late. If they'd have been there the whole time, and if he'd have worked on the bangers with his commander, he could have walked away from that potentially, but I don't think he recognized the danger. That was the problem there. So an incredibly short replay, and that goes to show what I was saying earlier. I do sometimes show the shorter ones, guys, but it has to be something unusual, and I think you'll agree that was pretty damn unusual. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoy it. As always, more to come from me in the future, but in the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.